Be ready. 5, 3, 2, 1, start. I see before me a distinguished gathering of men and women with wide knowledge and rich experience in the field of rural development. Several experts in the area of appropriate technology and planning are also assembled here. I take it that our delegates will bring to bear a fresh approach to the entire question of rural development. No other country in the world perhaps presents such an ideal field for experimentation as India, where a significant majority of the population lives in our villages. Even when we are struggling for freedom from foreign domination, the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, repeatedly drew our attention to the prime need for rural reconstruction. His constructive program was based on an objective appraisal of the realities of the rural situation, and he felt needs of the villagers. Unfortunately, after independence, adequate attention was not devoted to the comprehensive program of reforms outlined by him, which, if implemented, would have ushered in a peaceful revolution in our socio-economic and political life. Many new schemes were tried out, several mistakes were committed, and we have at last come to realize that there is no escape from the path shown by Gandhiji if we are to improve the standard and equality of life of the large masses of people in country. Strategies can be developed, logistics planned, and tactics evolved in any field of human activity if we are clear about our goal. If we have the proper approach, adopt the right attitude, and make correct estimate of our resources, human material, for to have long we labored under illusions created by an elitist, urban oriented approach to the problems of the rural development, whether it be in the field of education or the health services. The hangover of the colonial era has persisted. Where we have made changes, we have often tried to imitate others and have used models which have little relevance to our country. The needs and requirements of the towns and cities were first identified, and to meet them, plans and programs for industry, transport, and communications were drawn up into such a plan. Attempts were made to fit the needs of the rural area, where systematic growth of agriculture and cottage industry should have led to the development of desirable and necessary and big industries. The reverse was happening. It is time we take a look. It is enough to talk about radical changes and progressive policies and try to disturb the rhythm of rural life. While there are many static features in our rural life, the fact cannot be ignored that a great civilization has continuously survived in India over a period of centuries, and the people in the villages still retain something of the vitality of our ancient cultural heritage, which they have guarded and preserved with passionate zeal. It is for this reason that they have refused to be carried off their feet by the newfangled notions of the urban elite, and until they have tried and tested them in their own lives. and found them useful and valuable. The need of the hour is for the thinkers, the planners, and the experts offset their preconceived notions and borrowed ideas and try to fathom the cause and the significance of the vitality of our village civilization and to draw up such plans and programs as have relevance and validity to the context of today. This is a field of research and planning which I feel should merit your attention. I find that one of the important aspects of the rural development which this conference will discuss is appropriate technology. Here again, may I point out that as far as possible, you should identify the technology already obtaining in the villages and upgrade it through suitable innovations and improvisations rather than attempt a transfer of technology in a small for big quantities from the developed nations for a poor people who have survived for centuries on an almost no cost technology like the use of cow dung cake for fuel, sunshine for drying clothes, coconut and palm leaves, and mud for house building. Even low cost technology will seem to be too costly. Your deliberations therefore have to be realistic. It is good to know that India Development Service of USA and the India Development of UK have joined the Gandhi Peace Foundation, the Appropriate Technology Association, and the Organization of the Rural Poor in India. In sponsoring this conference, the two Indian organizations abroad played a significant role when India was enveloped by dark clouds during recent years, but freedom and democracy will have content and meaning only when the poor and the underprivileged play their rightful role in the national affairs. So the emphasis of Indian groups abroad cannot merely be on the struggle for human rights but also on economic development and social welfare. Many Indians who have settled abroad are hardly able to return to India, but certainly there is something which each one can do